This is the NAVEE XT5 Pro, and honestly, this is not your normal small city scooter. It has massive 12-inch off-road tires, front and rear suspension, and a huge battery with 75km range and up to 2200 watts of peak motor power. So today I want to see if this is actually a good all-around scooter for city riding, hills, rough roads, and maybe even a bit of off-road riding. But first, one important thing for Austria. Legally, electric scooters on public roads cannot just go at unlimited speed. The maximum is 25 kilometers per hour, and that's the maximum speed that I'll go today. Also, as a disclaimer, NAVEE sent me this review unit. The XT5 Pro is quite a big scooter. It weighs almost 35 kilos, which is 77 pounds. So this is definitely not something you want to carry upstairs every day. You can fold it quite easily though. You first have to release the lever, then push it, and it doesn't go down without pushing it for safety reasons. Then there is a hook on the body of the scooter that lets you fold it. Then you can lift it. I personally can lift it without any issue, and you probably can too. I did try to go up the train a couple of times, and it did work just fine. I really like the design. It has this futuristic and industrial look with a thick frame, a very wide deck, large suspension parts, and these huge tires. It looks much more serious than most scooters you see in the city. The deck is 21 cm wide, which is around 8 inches, so you have a lot of room for your feet. That makes a big difference on longer rides because you do not feel like you have to stand in one uncomfortable position all the time. You can also attach a seat to it if you want to, since it already has the area for it. The power port is on the deck and it is sealed. The scooter is IPX6 rated, which means it can withstand water jets and heavy sprays. Up here, there is a large 5-inch LED display. It shows your speed, battery, riding mode, and all the important information clearly. You also get Bluetooth unlock, traction control, turn signals, and automatic front light, and a rear brake light. The lighting is actually pretty nice. The front light turns on automatically when it gets darker. The brake light also naturally turns on when you brake. There are physical buttons for controlling your mode, turning the light on and off, and using the turn signals. For me, the best feature that I was positively surprised to see was the turn signals. They are super useful because you do not need to take one hand off the handlebar when you want to turn. When I was doing test rides, I was using this all the time, as you can see in this footage, especially when I wanted to signal to Maria where I wanted to go next. You have robust disc brakes for both the front and back wheels, and you activate them by pulling the levers towards yourself. It also has EABS. In my test, they worked very sharply and effortlessly, and it does stop immediately without any issues. On top speed of 25 km per hour, on asphalt, it does stop in about 7 meters. The tires are tubeless and grippy for off-road use, and the suspension also works nicely, especially on even surfaces. There is a stand on the scooter that keeps it fairly straight. The gas pedal is on the right side, and you can speed up by pressing it down. There's also a friendly sounding bell attached to the front of the scooter. I would say this scooter has two main selling points. One is that it can be used off-road, and the second selling point is the power of the motor. For the first point, the combination of the grippy off-road tires, the suspension, and the front and rear disc brakes makes it an amazing off-road candidate. I personally really enjoyed riding on some gravel and off-road path that I usually use on my commute. I often try to avoid this path when I am on my normal city scooter because they are neither comfortable nor safe, but with the XT5 Pro, I was able to navigate them without any issue. For example, even on some easy path, when Maria was following me on a normal scooter, I had to stop and ask her to turn back because I realized she was struggling, while I was able to continue and keep shooting the video. Now, the main reason you would buy this scooter is probably the power. The motor is rated at 600 watts, which makes it legal in Austria, and NAVEE claims up to 2200 watts of peak power. On flat roads, it feels very strong. It gets moving quickly, and even if you're a heavy rider, it does not feel slow or weak. But where it really makes sense is on hills. NAVEE says it can climb inclines of up to 32%, which is quite steep. Of course, that depends on your weight, battery level, road surface, and weather, but compared to a normal commuter scooter, this feels much stronger uphill. I tested it on both asphalt and off-road path, and it was able to go up every hill I could find at the maximum legal speed of 25 km per hour in Vienna. It is rear-wheel drive, which also helps with traction. On loose gravel, dirt path, or wet roads, the rear wheel pushes you forward in a more controlled way, and those 12-inch tubeless tires makes a big difference too. Most city scooters use 10-inch tires, and they are fine on a smooth road, but once you ride over potholes, gravels, or rough path, you really notice the smaller wheels. With these bigger tires, the XT5 Pro feels more stable and safer. It does not get thrown around as easily, and you have more grip on the loose surfaces. Because they are tubeless, they should also be more resistant to punctures than normal tires with inner tubes. The suspension is also doing a lot of work here. You still feel big bumps, obviously. This is not going to turn a bad road into a smooth road, but compared to a basic commuter scooter, it is much more comfortable. On gravel, broken pavement, and cobblestones, it feels less harsh on your hands and knees. The battery is almost 6000 watt-hour, and NAVEE claims up to 75 kilometers of range at 15 km per hour. At 20 km per hour, they claim around 60 kilometers, and around 25 km per hour, around 50 kilometers. I weigh 80 kg, and the advertised range is quite close to my own experience on flat surfaces in summer. Now realistically, your actual range will depend a lot on your weight, hills, temperature, tire pressure, and how aggressively you ride. If you are using a sport or boost mode all the time, riding uphill and accelerating hard, you will get less, but for normal riding around the city, I think around 40 to 50 kilometers is realistic, which is already very good for most people, including myself. I personally never ride more than 20 kilometers in a day. Charging with a normal charger takes around 5 to 6 hours. There is also an optional 10A fast charger, which can charge it around 1.5 hours. That is a very useful option if you use the scooter daily and do not want to wait overnight. Overall, both Maria and I were rather impressed by the scooter, especially by how big and powerful it is. For me, it is not necessarily about the speed, but the uphill that it can go. So there was a couple of situations that I was much faster than you when I was going uphill because the motor is very powerful. Did you feel it? You're behind me.
Yes.
So it was like maybe like a 20% slope, and I was still going 25 km per hour. Whereas like with my other scooter, I go like 10, 15.
Yeah, for me it was harder.
Stay safe, kids. Like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.